This might be the best mechanical shifting group set ever made. In fact, it might just be the best group set ever made, period. Now, over the last few days, I have been riding this lovely C50 from Colnago, doing a comparison with my C68. You might have seen that video, and if you haven't, it's linked up above. And riding this frame with this group set has reminded me just how high a bar Shimano set with its mechanical shifting group set. And sadly, this group set with mechanical shifting is no longer available. And damn, is it a good group set. Now, the pace of progress in the bike world is pretty relentless, and most innovations and developments are better and make cycling a better experience. But sometimes there are moves made by bike brands and component manufacturers that have me scratching my head. It's almost as if Shimano reached this massive high of shifting performance, a real pinnacle of how derailleurs and cables can operate together in perfect harmony, and then thought, well, we've got that high, let's scrap it and go in a different direction. Surely they could have kept a mechanical option alongside Di2 for those of us who don't want batteries and motors on their group set. So this is the R9100 series group set, launched back in 2017. So it's only 6 years old, which isn't that old at all. And when it launched, it was available with rim or hydraulic disc brakes and Di2 electronic shifting or mechanical shifting. As you see here, we have mechanical shifting with rim brakes. And last year, Shimano launched the successor to the group set, R9200, with many updates like 12 speed from 11 speed. But the biggest news, the biggest shock, is that they dropped the option of a mechanical shifting group set. There is still a rim brake option, although I've never seen one, but it's mainly electronic shifting and hydraulic disc brakes. Yes, that's the way the world is going, the market is going, and the pro peloton is going. But in dropping that option for mechanical dual group sets marks a seismic shift after 50 years of developing, evolving, and honing mechanical shifting. There is no longer a mechanical dual group set. So a key pivotal moment in the history of this long-running flagship group set. And I think a real shame after having ridden this for a long weekend. And using a group set is a real joy. It's a lovely sensation, a real tactile experience. And the shifting is super light. It requires only the merest touch, the merest amount of force at the lever or paddle, and the chain moves quietly across the sprockets. The weight of the shifting is so light, such a joy to use. And as much as I love electronic shifting, and I do, I can't quite believe I'm saying this, that I might prefer the feel of these mechanical shifters. The action is so light, it's so lovely, and get a nice tactile feedback you don't get from pressing a button that makes riding the bike and using a group set and interacting with it a lovely, lovely experience. That's my real takeaway. The shifting is just fantastically effortless, really is effortless. And then other benefits are the really small compact hoods, because there's no hydraulic gubbins in there, no electronic gubbins either, no batteries in there to go flat. And the brake levers have a lovely wide curve to them, carbon fiber as well, so they look cool, look very snazzy. And the paddles are just the right size and right shape. Just flawless shifting, absolutely perfection. And that's shifting at the back and shifting at the front. The front mech changes really quickly, the rear mech changes really quickly too. Probably not as quick as electronic shifting, but it's definitely not slow, and definitely doesn't harm the experience of riding a bike like this. And then we have the rim brakes, which, yeah, they work okay. They slow down if you plan ahead for a corner, but they're nowhere near as good as a hydraulic disc brake, in my opinion. There isn't that same feeling of force or power at the brake levers as you get from a hydraulic disc brake setup. But really, for me, the takeaway from the group set is just how lovely the shifting is. And that further adds weight to the sadness I have that Shimano is no longer offering a mechanical shifting option at Dura-Race. And then there's the weight. This group set all up weighs about 2 kilos. The newest version of the group set with hydraulic disc brakes, electronic gears and motors and batteries and wires weighs over 2.4 kilos. So a 400 gram weight penalty for the newer group set, which does seem 2 steps back and 1 forward rather than 2 steps forward and 1 back. So progress of sorts, but in some way it's not. And now I know weight isn't everything, but for lots of people it clearly is. So a heavier group set isn't really progress as you would want. And despite being 6 years old, it's still a group set that looks really good and I think has aged really well. That's helped by the fact that we still have the gloss black appearance on the brand new group set. So visually there are some differences, but from a distance they look very similar. But the same company said when it launched back in 2017, because it definitely caused ripples of shock in the bike world. That's because compared to the previous generation R9000, visually it was a big departure. We went from a two-tone silver appearance on the cranks to a gloss black and a much chunkier crank arm design as well. Yes, there's performance gains in terms of stiffness and weight, but visually it looked very different. And it definitely shocked lots of people. And I remember reporting on it when it launched, and there are lots and lots of comments from people who really hated the look and appearance of the group set. But I think those same people are now probably do like the way the new group set looks, and it has aged really well and looks really good on a classic frame like this. And I think it's a great looking group set. We have very small compact hoods because there's no hydraulic gubbins inside there. So very small, your fingers and hands fit around them really nicely. Great lever shape, easy shifting. We have this nice low profile shadow design rear mech. So low profile inside the frame and smoother, easier cable routing for even lighter shifting. And that very chunky, muscular looking crank arm design. So plenty of stiffness and low weight as well. And we have rim brakes. And although I'm not a massive fan of rim brakes compared to disc brakes, these are as good as rim brakes get. So dual pivot, lightweight, a bit of aero, space with 28mm wide tyres. But despite having carbon blocks and these high quality MV rims, the power at the lever isn't anywhere near as good as a hydraulic disc brake, but they do slow down if you plan ahead, but you don't have that immediate sensation of power and stopping force you do get with hydraulic disc brakes. After spending a weekend riding this lovely C50, which I'm now searching on eBay for a second-hand frame, so if you have one, go and spare, let me know by leaving a comment down below. I've also been reminded just how good this mechanical shifting is. And I think it's a real shame that Shimano is no longer offering a mechanical shifting option at the Dura-Race level. And they recently launched a 105 Di2 electronic shifting group set, bringing Di2 technology to 105 for the first time ever, but with a big price increase over old mechanical shifting 105, even though they're not really the same group sets, they share the same name. But Shimano is showing its intent in expanding the Di2 range of offerings to a wider range of price points. But it is a real crying shame there is no longer a mechanical shifting option at Dura-Race. There has been for the last 50 years, and Shimano's success is founded on mechanical shifting, proving they are a worthy rival to Campagnolo and SRAM, and becoming the most dominant group set manufacturer in the world, to now abandon the group set, the technology that their success is founded on, seems like a crazy move. So if you're not really a fan of electronic shifting, my advice is to stock up on mechanical shifting group sets while you can, which is why after the video, I'm off to try and find myself an unused, brand new Dura-Race group set if I can. And if you want to see that video on a C50 and how it rides compared to a new C68, then do watch the video right here. Definitely worth a watch, really interesting comparison between an old bike and a new bike. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again very soon.